Hi there, my name's Lesley Head. I'm from the School of Geography at the University of Melbourne. Sorry I couldn't be with you in person. I'm trying to reduce my flying, but I'm sure you'll have a great discussion. And here is my Twitter handle and email. I'd be really happy to chat to anyone after the session or in the next few days. So, to the question, is it time to further institutionalise vegetal geography? My answer is no. We don't need more institutions or terms or things in the discipline, I think. But of course there are ways that we might hope that vegetal geography flourishes, and we can take some cues from the plants themselves. So I've got 4 sets of comments. These are all things I've published on, so happy to provide the references to anyone who's interested. First, I'm going to use the buttress roots of this fig tree in the park near our office to think about which parts of the discipline constitute the heritage of vegetal geographies as we think about them today. So we know there's a long heritage of studying people-plant relationships within cultural ecology and those traditions. There is biogeography, but that's traditionally understood as not including people in the bio. That's changed a bit in recent years. So we would want to take a critical stance towards our history and heritage. We would now understand it as not being relational enough, as carrying too many assumptions within it about human-nature relations that we want to contest, as being strongly colonialist in many of its orientations. Nevertheless, these are our roots within the discipline. Second, and I'm going to use the lawn that threads through this park as the metaphor there. We need to be very open and connected to disciplines and work beyond geography. Particularly, I think, in the plant sciences at the moment. They're moving very rapidly to discover all sorts of mind-blowing things about how plants sense the world and communicate between themselves. Not the best verbs perhaps, but they'll do for the moment. So it's really important, I think, that we make sure our conceptualizations keep up with these intellectual frontiers in the sciences. So third, I'm talking to you from Australia, and so we need to remind ourselves always about how and why place matters in vegetal geographies. So over on the other side of the park, over there, is a Eucalyptus camaldulensis, river red gum, and I'm standing on Wurundjeri country. I'm only a couple of kilometres from the centre of Melbourne. So the ancestors of that tree and the ancestors of the Wurundjeri lived together in this landscape for many thousands of years and still maintain connections to it. So in Australia, as in other places with a settler colonial history, we have a huge amount to learn from Indigenous knowledge and Indigenous relations to plants. We also have to be very attuned to the colonial context that frames how we understand planty concepts like nativeness, weeds, ferals, invasives, and so on. So this third example also reminds us why we might be doing this, the very real management issues of the Anthropocene and the reconfigured relationships as to where plants belong and don't belong. So fourth and finally, I want to introduce you to my favourite indoor office plant. Hello, I was going to say he or she, but I'm not sure which reminds us of the affective and emotional relations we have with plants. For those of us who live in cities, many of those relations are now indoor ones. And so a big shout out to Melbourne Uni geography student Eileen Schultz, who's recently completed a thesis on people's relationships with their indoor plants. So thanks for listening, thanks to Paul for making this possible, and I wish you very well with your discussion.